Heartful thanks, a creativity practice. So what does creativity have to do with Maundy, Thursday? Jesus, with amazing creative potential, infused the common acts that we do every day, washing, eating, drinking, with spiritual truth. So when we respond to Jesus' actions that night with our own creativity, that is an act of worship. Hi, I'm Dr. K.P. McKee, founder and executive director of A Spacious Place Creativity and Spirituality Center. And welcome to today's FaceTime Live. We would welcome your comments and questions as we go through the practice today. And you're going to want to gather a few supplies for our Maundy, Thursday creativity practice. So first of all, you're going to need a Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses 1 through 15, a pair of scissors, some markers. I love the metallic ones for this particular practice, a ruler, an assortment of tissue paper, an adhesive such as Mod Podge, and a brush to apply it. For this one, I like to use the luster, and you'll see why in just a bit. And another adhesive such as rubber cement, or you can use a glue stick. And then some art tape in a color that will go with your project. And you can choose that once we get into it a little bit better. So we're also going to need some wax paper. And this template that you can download from our website. And when you do that, you're going to want to do it landscape. And I'll ask our IT person to explain how you do that.
When you start your print job, before you actually hit print, you need to go into the printer properties and check the orientation. Make sure that landscape is the bubble that's highlighted and not portrait, and then you're ready to print.
Okay, so here's this one, and then one that I have already prepared, which is what you're going to do with yours. And last, you're going to want a sheet of cardstock in a color that will go with what you are doing for the project. I'm using white because it will go with everything. So to begin, let's do our practice. So we want to get our feet comfortably on the floor and our body comfortably in our space. And then let's move our breathing from high up here in our chest, that's where we breathe when we're nervous, down here to what we call belt buckle breathing. If you think about an infant deep in sleep. And let's just take a moment and take a couple of breaths. And relax your shoulders. And when you're ready, you're going to begin the reading. And again, it's John chapter 13, verses 1 through 15. The first time you read it through, just get an overall sense of the setting, the persons, and the action. And just sit with that for a bit. And remember, we're going to put this on our site in time. And so if you need to stop and pause this as you go through, you'll have that option to do. When you're ready for the second read through, imagine yourself as one of the persons in the story. It could be one of the disciples, a server, could be the person of Jesus. And you need to have no anxiety about imagining yourself in the role of Jesus. Jesus came to give us insight into the intents of God. So if we stand for a little bit in Jesus' shoes, that's exactly what Jesus would hope for us to do. If you're a person for whom writing is a natural expression of your faith, you might want to take a little bit of time here and rewrite the story from the perspective of the person you are thinking of. And after you've sat with that for a bit, let's do a third read-through. And this time, as you're reading, contemplate someone who, for you in the past year, has been your foot washer, someone who has served you in your time of need. So after you have decided on that, we will get ready to do our practice. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to cut this out. And of course you can do your own thing with this too. It needs to be a fairly simple pattern with something inside, and you need 2 of them. You're going to want to fold them, and the way to do that, to make that straight, is to use a ruler, and that will help to do that so that it folds over just like this. And now you have your frame prepared. The next thing we're going to do is take our wax paper and our adhesive. Now when you do this, think about the person that you are creating this gift for. Colors that remind you of this person, any simple patterns you might like to use. And actually just applying the color here is beautiful in and of itself. I like to start in the center and work toward the edges. And I am going to just kind of do a spiral pattern because I like that. Now you will see that I have cut my tissue paper into squares. That is one way that you can do it. And another way is simply to tear the paper in ways that please you. The wonderful thing about this project is that it's just so organic, and you can change it at however you like. The colors are going to overlap, and you'll have some melding of colors with that. You're getting a sense of a stained glass window here. That's what we're looking for. And this is a wonderful project because you can use things that are just around the house, tissue paper that you've gotten in a gift or whatever, and create something beautiful with it. It's okay to go over the edges here because we can trim, and we will in time. And then you want to apply a second coat over the top. This is what gives the tissue paper its translucence.
So should I put all of the tissue paper down before I do the second coat, or does it matter?
Oh, you mean of the Mod Podge?
Yes.
No, you're going to want to do that as you go along. Just under, and then when you do some and get it to a place where you like it, over. Like these are tissue, this is tissue paper that came in a package that we got. We just cut it up and used it. That looks brown, not orange. So we have, I have several different shades of these colors, which is really beautiful, I think. I'm going to do just a little bit more so you can get a sense of how this works. You can see the colors melding here. Now let's go for some red. I'm kind of going with the color wheel here, and I have a range of primary and secondary colors. You can use whatever colors appeal to you. This is just to give you a sense of what you can do. Just a little bit more here. You want to overlap the colors so that they meld together and you have everything covered. And once you feel like you've gotten going, you can lift it up and see, and you'll find the holes where you need to apply a little bit more color. So let me do that for you here before we finish up. Something very soothing about applying this. Alright, so I'm going to lift this up just so you can see. And we've done a fairly good job. Here's a little spot where I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. And I can just do that right over the top of what I've already done here. And blend that in. So you want to fill your sheet with color, however you want to do that. One more yellow here. And then set that aside and let it dry. And while that is drying, we're going to work on our frame here and add some text. Now, I also like to do a little coloring inside, and you can do that by just using a little bit more wax paper. And just coming inside here. You can do it on the outside of the frame as well if you like. And be thinking of a simple expression of thanks to go on the front here, because you have probably figured out by now this is going to be a card. And this kind of highlights the edges here. And then I'm just going to simply say, with thanks here. Let me see if this gold one will work better for me. And if you want, you can always do this in pencil first and then erase.
If I do it in pencil first, what's the best eraser to use to make sure I don't mess up the ink?
Well, you want to wait until your ink is completely dry if you're going over the pencil line, and then you can use a regular eraser, but a kneaded eraser is the absolute best thing to use because it won't leave any marks on the page, and you can also form it the way you would like it to be. So now I'm going to open this back up, and I have one that I have already done and finished off here. And you don't have to worry about the fact that there's a little bit over the edge because we can trim that up, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I can see how this is going to fit in, and I can arrange it the way that looks good to me for what I'm doing. So I can set it in here, close it, move it around however I decide I want. When I get it the way that I've decided I want, now I can apply my second adhesive. And I really like rubber cement for this because you can move things around with it, and it will allow you to do that. And as you're doing this creating, you could be thinking about the person that you're going to give this to and remembering them, holding them in your prayers. All right, so I'm going to slip this in here. I think I like it about right there. And then close this up. I'm going to let that seal for a bit. And while we're working on that, then we're going to measure our cardstock. Now, if you use the template that we have on the website for you, you can go with 4 3/4 by 7, and you can get 2 out of an 8.5 by 11 or a 9 by 12 sheet, and that should be just exactly what you need it to be. So I'm just going to cut out one here. There's something very special about someone taking time to make you something. These are things that people keep and treasure. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and trim this off around the edges. And you can follow up and also do the marker around these outside edges as well if you want to, once you've gotten this done. And then we take this, and I actually need to trim this up just a little bit better here. Alright, that will be enough to give us a sense of what we're doing. So we're going to line this up, and it helps to stand it so that we can see where we're going. And then we apply the tape. And I'm going to do this, I'm just going to move this off here for now. Line it up with the edge. And then you can do a neat cut, but don't worry about it if you don't, because you can come back and straighten that up later. And I can stand it, make sure it stands. And then I'm going to go ahead and do one more. And then finish it off with one on the inside as well. This gives your card stability and also just looks really beautiful. Oops. And then you can add a message on the inside, a scripture, a quote. You want to be sure that it's below the line here so that it does not show through the front. So here are two that I have finished in different ways. Then you can write a message on the back to the person as well if you would like. So if you found today's practice helpful, we hope you will like us on Facebook. You can visit our website, www.aspaciousplace.com. Sign up for our e-newsletter and see what's going on. And our next Facebook Live will be on April the 8th. It's a common misconception that when midnight hits on Easter, that Easter's over, but it actually is the beginning of Easter, the Eastertide season. So we'll be moving into celebrative kinds of art projects for that, and we hope you will join us 2:30 Central Daylight Time on April the 8th. And also, if you are interested in card making, we have a card making workshop that we offer, and here are a few examples of the kinds of cards that we do, from fun to elegant. And this one opens up into a cruciform shape. And it is Jesus' I am statements. And if you enjoy collaging and you would be interested in doing it as an art form, we have a course in rice paper collage. And you can sign up for that as well. Here are just some examples of what we have done before with collage. If you're interested in either of those, the card making or the collaging, you can email me at kaye@aspaciousplace.com. aspaciousplace.com. And if we have enough interest, we will work that out and do a class. Let's close with prayer. Jesus, you challenged us to live as you lived, and that is a tall order. But you found ways to remind us of your presence in the daily things of life, in our eating and drinking and our washing, and that helps us. Thank you. Amen. Thank you all for joining us. See you next time.